All right, you heard of inflation, you've heard of shrinkflation. Today we're going to talk about blingflation. That's right. Bling as in bling bling, shiny, fancy stuff. All right, that's going to be one of two topics today. The other topic is going to be talking about the difference between the Land Cruiser 300 frame and the Land Cruiser 250 frame. So the TNGAF platform differences. But let's start with blingflation. And essentially, that's when Toyota can charge you more, or charge the consumer more for flashy stuff. And in return, they get less. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking about TRD Pro and TrailHunter trims, whether we're talking about the 24 Tacoma, or if we're talking about the 25 Toyota 4Runner. They're going to come with TRD Pro, and they're going to come with TrailHunter. And all that is a bunch of bling. That's right. There's not really a lot of value in those two trims, and you're actually going to get, you're going to pay more and get less. But allow me to explain. First thing you got to understand about Toyota is they don't make anything. Toyota just has a bunch of suppliers. They got Yamaha engines, Aisin transmissions, Panasonic batteries, Denso parts. And when it comes to their shocks, they're also no such thing as a Toyota shock. Your typical Land Cruiser or truck or SUV Toyota shock is going to be a Tokiko or a KYB. That's right. So if you know anything about cars, Tokiko and KYB already are aftermarket shocks. So any Toyota truck or SUV you get already comes with well-made, and I do mean well-made, Japanese shock absorbers. So what that means to you is when we start comparing it to the so-called upgrades, and that is a cringe word, because people like to talk about cars just, in trucks and start talking, when they modify them, I'm upgrading, they're not upgrading. 9 times out of 10, you're downgrading, especially when it comes to a Toyota truck or SUV, because as I just mentioned, they already come upgraded. They already come with aftermarket good stuff. Tokiko and KYB are world-class Japanese-made shocks, arguably the best you can get. So when we talk about the mother vehicle on these new TNGAF platforms, and remember, they're all trucks and SUVs are all on one singular Toyota TNGAF platform. Your mother vehicle, the Land Cruiser 300, gets either Tokiko or KYB shocks. That's how it has always been. I'm riding on stock suspension now in this Lexus GX 460, and it has Tokiko shocks stock, and they have taken a beating. And they do not leak. We live out here in the desert. These shocks have never not been off-road. Since it's brand new, we live off-road. We're not on a trail right now. These are our roads out here. This is, people ask me, what trails are these? This is our neighborhood. This is just what it looks like. Okay, we have beat these things to death, and we do proper off-roading on proper off-road trails. These Tokiko shocks do not leak after whatever we got, 20-some thousand miles, but they've been hard miles. Watch the channel if you don't believe me. Point is, the reason why you or anybody pays for a Toyota truck that's more expensive than a domestic offering is because you're paying, when you buy your Toyota truck, you're paying that extra Toyota price because you're going to get Tokiko or KYBs. And it's a well-made Japanese shock. So what does that mean with these, why does Toyota offer TRD Pro on some Tacomas and 4Runners, and what's the hype about that? Well, to be honest, it's just a way for Toyota to charge you more and give you less. Now, Tokiko and KYB, as you know, are made in Japan. Where are Fox shocks on your TRD Pro made? Well, those are made in Australia. Excuse me, I got this backwards. Hold on, let me back it up. Those aren't made in Australia, those are made in Georgia, USA. Fox shocks. So you got American-made, Georgia-made shocks. Okay? Now, what about Old Man Emo? I kind of gave it away. Old Man Emo is going to be on your Trail Runner trims of your 25 4Runner, your 24 Tacoma. And so if you get the Trail Runner, you get Old Man Emo, and those are made in Australia. So you already know where I'm going here. Okay? Your Australia and Georgia are not beating Japanese-made. That shouldn't need any explanation. Let's just agree that we all agree that the Japanese mantra of quality, durability, and reliability. It's not just a Toyota thing, that's a Japanese thing. Tokiko and KYB are Japanese made. So when you quote upgrade to your TRD package, you're getting American shocks, or you're getting, with the case of the TrailHunter, you're getting Australian shocks. And while I'm not knocking those at all, I'm just saying they're not going to be up to Japanese standards. Now, somebody's going to make the argument, oh no, hold on a second here. The whole point of those TRD Pro shocks and those old man emo shocks is so you can get those piggyback reservoirs. And that's true, they do come with piggyback reservoirs. But most people don't have a devil of a clue what that actually is. Here's the truth. Remote reservoir shocks are only for what I call airborne desert racing or airborne off-roading. Yes, airborne. When I say airborne, I'm not talking about flying through the desert on roads like this. I'm talking about desert racing. That's what the R and TRD means. Toyota Racing Development. Desert racing. That's when you fly off of a hump on the road and you get airborne. And so your suspension is essentially at full droop, and then you land at full compression. So unless you're doing high amplitude, high frequency off-roading, which you are not, we'll get to that in a second. Unless you're doing high amplitude and high frequency off-roading where you are getting full droop in the air to full compression on the landing over and over, you have no use for remote reservoir shocks, because remote reservoir shocks solve shock fade. Shock fade only happens when you go full droop, full compression. That's amplitude at a high frequency, meaning you're doing that very frequently over and over and over. Okay? Most people aren't doing that. No, regular shocks do not experience shock fade doing what I'm doing now. They don't experience shock fade when you're doing hardcore rock crawling. And they don't experience shock fade if you're just bombing through the desert on washboard roads going a million miles an hour. It doesn't care. You can cycle short amplitude, meaning little bitty ups and downs, up and down, up and down, up and down, over and over, all you want, and that's not going to do shock fade. Shock fade is, if I were to take this jump here, I know the camera's going to flatten it out, but if I would take this at 80 miles an hour and fly over it, the suspension goes full droop, and then I land right here where I am right now, and it's full compression, and I keep doing that over and over and over a million times, that will cause shock fade. Nobody does that. Racers do that. Desert racers, the TRD, that's the Racing Development. Those are the people that do that. I've lived out here in the desert for 13 years, and I don't know any off-roader who desert races out here. Okay, and if they do, they have a purpose-built vehicle. And I certainly don't do it because it's nauseating. And that's one of the problems with that form of off-roading is, yeah, it seems fun in the commercials to just, hey, let me just hit it 80 miles an hour on, around here, and you'll get sick. You're flying up and down, and most people don't do it. And people who are born and raised out here, I maybe can count on one hand how many people like that style of airborne off-roading. And those people that do, they have those Can-Ams or whatever you call those purpose-built, they look like dune buggies. You know what I'm talking about. They choose a purpose-built off-roader for that. So my point of this rambling is airborne off-roading, which does benefit from remote reservoir shock absorbers like Fox and Old Man Emu. That type of off-roading is rare and does absolutely nothing for the other 99% of off-roading most people are going to do, including extreme rock crawling. It has no benefit. So in the end, you're wasting your money getting TRD Pro and Old Man Emo, all these TrailHunter trims. We know this because, again, Blingflation. Toyota decorates the stuff red. They color it red, they make it look fancy, and it appeals, to the senses, like El Toro, the old Bugs Bunny cartoons, the bull, and Bugs Bunny dresses up like the bullfighter, and all that's needed to trick the bull and get him excited and trigger him is a red cape. So the matador or the bullfighter holds a red cape, and the dumb animal is triggered by the red and goes, TRD Pro, red, Pro, it's red, charge, and it's triggered by the color. So that's why TRD and TRD Pro is a hit. It's a sticker package. It's red crap that's inferior to the Japanese-made stuff that the Toyota engineers originally intended. Remember, when they made your 4Runner, your Land Cruiser Prado, your Lexus GX460, your Land Cruiser 200, your Land Cruiser 300, your Land Cruiser 250, the engineers did not specify Old Man Emu or TRD Pro shocks at all. No, they didn't design the car around those shocks. They knew what shock to pick. KYB for the adjustable shocks, or Tokiko for the standard shocks. KYBs are adjustable. It's not a gimmick. There's actually an electronic needle valve inside KYB vehicles, KYB shock vehicles. Yeah, I'm rambling here, but you know what I'm saying. Vehicles with KYB shocks that have AVS or adaptive variable suspension in Toyota and Lexus products. You can adjust the flow of oil electronically in those vehicles, and it's not a gimmick. Oh, we got a stop sign out here in the middle of the desert. Well, alrighty then. Let's stop and look both ways. Anyway, you've got... that's the real deal, KYB. Okay, look at the Ducati Desert X rally bike. That thing costs as much as a car. I think it's like $28,000 or something. Ducati Desert X. It's an adventure bike. It has KYB electronically adjustable shocks. Well, guess what? Every Toyota and Lexus product that you've had in the past whatever years that has electronically adjustable shocks has had excellent world-class KYB Japanese-made electronically valve adjustable shocks. They are the real deal. That's what the engineers specified. They did not specify Old Man Emu. They did not specify Fox shocks. So it's what the engineers intended, and the other packages are just sticker packages. You're triggered by the colors. Imagine if they painted Tokiko shocks their traditional aftermarket colors of white and blue or white and red. Or what if they did KYB adjustable shocks in their traditional aftermarket colors of, electric neon blue against electric neon pink? Then you get triggered and go, wow, let's get the TRD Pro with the Tokikos or the KYBs. Whoa. Okay? When you're looking at shock absorbers, go whatever computer or phone you're on, go ahead and go into settings and take the color off your computer. Take the saturation down to 0 so everything's in grayscale. Now look at the shocks. Okay? Now you can't get triggered by the colors. When you look at your boring Tokikos that I'm riding on now and don't have a leak, and we do this every day, all day, since this thing was new and they don't have any leak, and then you look at the shock body and you go, it's just boring and black. It must be some off-the-shelf nonsense that's no good because it's not neon purple. That's not true. The fact of the matter is they just don't paint in fancy colors. So don't be fooled by the Blingflation. That's the point here. Don't be fooled. Your flagship Land Cruiser, the realest, dealest, toughest Toyota that you can get. You get Tokikos and or KYBs. KYBs for the GR Sport, Tokikos for all other models, and you gotta realize you paid for it. Why on earth would you delete that stuff? Like most people do. First thing they do is rip that stuff off, and they put on, worst of all, not an American shock, not a Australian shock, a Chinese shock that has neon green springs and neon green all over the shock body and stickers and in magenta yellow. Ooh, oh look, they light up. They're putting LEDs on shock absorbers now. Get a light kit for your shock absorbers, and your your embossed, embroidered upper control arms can now have LEDs. So you can have LEDs in your wheel well pointing at your Old Man Emo Chinese special. Look at this washboard we're on. You hear this car? Okay? This is not a dirt road. This is hard as concrete with washboards. Okay? There's no shock fade happening here because we're not going full amplitude. It's a bunch of small amplitude, high frequency, and the shocks are fine. It handles it. You don't need remote reservoirs. They're not going to overheat. You're fine. Okay? Blingflation. That is the word of the day. All right, let's move on to the differences between, hey, that was another Toyota. Go, Avalon, go. I think it was Avalon. Let's turn around here, actually, because pavement is no fun, is it? Let's talk about the differences between, oh, there's a little nice turnaround spot right here. Watch the trash. So let's talk about the differences between TNGAF platforms. So there is a difference between the 300 frame, that means the Land Cruiser 300 in the world market, and the Land Cruiser 250 in the American market. So the Mick Land Cruiser, as I call it, right? There's a difference, and I don't have all the data on this, so bear with me. But through my research that I'm conducting, and it's ongoing, obviously, there's a difference. The frame is lighter in the 250, so that's your bottom line. Video and written source is mostly spoken and written in Japanese. I've been translating, and there's essentially the engineer behind the Land Cruiser 250, upon which your Tacoma's based, upon which your Toyota 4Runner, 25 4Runner is based. The frame is lighter. They used a thinner gauge metal. So a lot of times we go, oh, the TNGAF platform, you know, the mother vehicle is the Land Cruiser 300 and everything's based on that. So if you get a Land Cruiser 250, you're getting that same beefy frame as a Land Cruiser 300 or a LX 600, right? No, you're not. It has been confirmed that the gauge of metal is thinner in the Land Cruiser 250. And I know we've been talking about other caveats and things recently, like the new 24 Tacoma and the 25 4Runner have internally mounted bump stops on the shock versus externally mounted bump stops. So in addition to that Mickey Mousing, the frame is lighter and thinner. So even though it's on the same TNGAF platform, I'm just slowing down here because we're going uphill. I know it looks flat, but we're going uphill and it's bouncy and bumpy. I'm showing you what these Tokiko shocks can do. You hear any rattles? You hear any? All the rattling you hear is my junk at the back, not the shocks themselves. But the frame is thinner, so keep that in mind. If you get a Land Cruiser 250, the Mick Land Cruiser, you go, okay, that's just a Land Cruiser 300 with a smaller engine and some features missing. You know, a lot of important features, quite frankly. But no, there's more missing than that, and we're going to kind of keep you up to date on this channel about the differences as they come to light. I know the automotive journalists, in quotations, never talk about this stuff. Sorry, but that's just the quality of, quote, automotive journalism we have on YouTube today. They don't do simple things like take a caliper to the frame to see if there's any differences between the 300 and 250. But the 250 has a thinner frame. How much? I don't know. I'd have to go to a dealer with calipers, but you're not getting the same frame. The TNGAF process is very similar. So we say, okay, the frames are the same as the TNGAF platform. That's more of a manufacturing thing. In other words, the shape and angles are generally the same. The machining is the same. The welding is the same, blah, blah, blah. But they can swap out different gauges of metal. And they have apparently done so with the Land Cruiser 250 versus the 300. They've made it lighter. That is confirmed. How much lighter? I don't know. Does that matter? That's up to you to decide. Technically, it does have a smaller, lighter engine in it, and the whole vehicle may be lighter overall. But do realize that if you go ahead and go, I'm just going to get that Land Cruiser 250, that's the same as the Land Cruiser 300 in the world market. It's just got a smaller engine, blah, blah, blah. Nope, you're getting some stuff taken away. You're getting, you know, I won't go down the list for the sake of the staying on topic. You got a thinner frame, and you have to decide if that matters to you or not. I can't say. You have to say. Now, Toyota is being, at least in the American market, they're not being forthright about that. They're not talking about it. In the Japanese market, they are talking about it, presumably because the 300 is sold there, so they have something to compare it to. Now, over here in America, we do have the Land Cruiser 600, which is based on the the LX 600, which is based on the Land Cruiser 300. So you can say those frames are the same, and you know. But I don't know, I'm rambling. You get what I'm saying. You got to decide. There's a difference in the frame. I know I'm going around in circles, and this may mean nothing to anybody, but we're just having Toyota nerd chat here. because nobody's talking about it. And that's the point of my rambling is we got to start pointing out these differences because it is confusing. TNGAF platform, all these cars, going to have 7 cars once you get the new Hilux and Fortuner on TNGAF platform, 7 or 8 trucks and SUVs on one platform, and everybody's saying it's all one platform, it's all the same platform, but there are differences. Okay, they may seem minor, but what do you feel about a different frame thickness on the Land Cruiser 250? Again, it might not matter to you, but it's real. So that's today's ramblings. If you found this video helpful, useful, or entertaining, please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you, and have a great, great day.